kind of going this tension thing. Every interview I've seen, if someone would ask me what Chanel won as like the thing on, what if Chanel had a billboard that could only put one thing on it, this thing about tension and releasing tension. You say it in every interview, but it's so true. Now, kind of walk me through how you do something. Now and I'm getting ahead of myself and kind of how the interview goes, but we'll jump ahead because we're kind of circling that area now. I would say if someone asked me, "Hey, Chanel is a great comic," I would say, "Yeah, but that's really half of it." I would say she's also a great activist too. I would say she's both those things. And this kind of activism that you have, and where you take on things that are, anti-gun or anti-gun and definitely like a more liberal approach, pro-women, not just rights but equality and of course with equality among race and everything. Where How do you go into a room with people who, like, let's say the show that you just came down and did in Hershey? Obviously, you're walking into a more conservative kind of crowd, and you did great.
Yeah.
How do you write a joke that is going to be against the beliefs or make people uncomfortable because you're touching, especially right now more so than ever, with people emotional, and even though you and I probably agree on most political issues, when when you're in a room like that and you're talking to people who disagree with you and and are passionate about their stance. I'm talking way too long about this question.
No.
How do you write a joke so that you can create that tension and not turn them off, keep them like almost like a fish on the worm long enough to reel them in, and then quickly just let them go again? How do you write a joke to go about doing something like that and make it relatable to someone who they've never met before, someone like yourself?
Yeah. It is hard, and I've definitely been in rooms where I was, like I said, I was the only person of color, and I know that my line of thinking doesn't align with anyone else's line of thinking. We're not experiencing the same things. We're not concerned with the same things. But what I always do is carefully choose when I'm going to throw something difficult at them. Like when I'm making a set list, I very carefully choose where I'm going to put a joke. And at the top of that list, if I know, like the other night I did a show in Easton, Pennsylvania, all white bar. I think maybe two black people in there, and they were part of an interracial couple. So they chose a side, they chose a team. And we're sitting there, and I'm just like, they're super rowdy, and I'm the headliner, and I'm trying to help them listen and understand me. And I just know that top half of my set has to be very funny, very topical. Let's connect on the things that we have in common. Let's shit on Philly. Let's talk about the Eagles.
Yeah.
Here, let me show you our commonalities, okay? Now I got you on my team. You think I'm your friend. Now I'm gonna talk about my personal life and how I came to be who I am. I'm gonna draw you in and make you understand how my brain has gotten to where it's at. Now you have a good idea. I swear, I visualize this all the time with audience members. Now you have a good idea who I am. You're already on my team. Now I'm going to push and challenge you.
Okay.
Now I'm going to do it. Now I'm going to say, hey, all these statues coming down, huh? I'm going to watch you say, hey now. What are you about to do? And I'm going to watch you give me a second because you already are my friend and you know my story. You know I'm a good girl. And now I'm going to push you a little further and you're still going to push back. Yeah. Because you don't want to hear me say some shit that you don't agree with. And now I'm going to tell you my reasoning. And my reasoning for why I believe it is rooted in not just knowledge of real life, but outlandish, reckless silliness. It doesn't make no sense. So now I've disarmed your anger.
Yeah.
I've disarmed it because you know that I'm being silly.
Yeah.
And there's really no reason for you to have such a visceral reaction.
Yeah.
But you are. And now you have to decide, like, that's my own issue, So it's like I use this formula to disarm them and then help them understand that I know what your buttons are.
Yeah.
And I'm choosing to tiptoe around them so that I can get you to get forward to addressing them.
Yeah.
But also, like, I'm not going to turn this whole room against me because I'm smart.
Well, I mean, this seems all fine and good when you're headlining, but let's say for you to get to the headliner status that you are, for you to get these Comedy Central gigs and show how prolific you are around the different topics that you touch on that pretty much no other comic touches on. you had to showcase that in much shorter sets. So when you're on a 10-minute set or a 15-minute set, how are you? The audience may not have the amount of time when you're headlining to get to know you.
Yeah.
How do you not turn them off when you're only doing 10 minutes and then be able to still get your point across and your philosophies on the table and not compromise your beliefs so that for a cheap laugh kind of deal? How do you do that in a much tighter 10-minute set?
It's a lot of things. It's still a similar formula of let's disarm you and get you on my team first. So I'm obviously not going to start out with the thing I know is very political or very divisive. I'm gonna sandwich that in between things that I know are softer and are gonna bring the whole room together. But also, I just think it's also about confidence. It's about not showing in your body that you're afraid to say what you're saying. Hey, I'm saying it. I believe it. And it's not a big deal. Why do you have so many feelings about what I'm saying? And then also just kind of, trusting yourself, really. I mean, it's hard to give a play-by-play on how I disarm them because even I can only explain it so much. But it definitely helps me that I am well-spoken. That helps me a lot. And then there's also like your bits have to sound finished. They have to sound like you have come through a journey and now we have a complete stop. Because I watch comedians often try to push a very political joke or a very like divisive joke that they haven't come close to finishing.
How do you write a joke about a belief system with now trying to keep the audience on your side? Like, what are some of the tricks, habits, or things that you might try to tease out to win an audience over to relate on a belief level, like politically?
I definitely got to credit the GOAT Dave Chappelle when I say that you have to find a common ground between what these people are upset about and what you're upset about. And like with my joke about the statues, like people are upset because they feel like their history is being erased. That's neither here nor there. I don't feel that feeling, but I know what it feels like to feel like my history is not being shown. And I know that there aren't many statues that look like me. I know that feeling. So now we can connect on that feeling. You're upset because of your history. I'm upset because of my history. How can we both get resolved? You know? So like Dave Chappelle said, he said, like, I don't hate people who hate me. I hate that feeling. I hate the feeling of what you guys feel is being taken from you. And I hate that I can't remedy that with, what I'm doing. So I think you have to just like unite on this humanness, it sounds so cliche. And I've learned a lot about art is that it is cliche, but it is kind of like that. Like, you're upset about this statue. Well, I want to see a 7-foot cheesesteak. I want to see it. I want Philly to be represented. Yeah. And it's the same feeling. It's the same feeling. I'm saying it in a less serious way, but we're connecting now. And so now the fact that we don't exactly agree, it's almost like it disarms them. I swear, it's like it disarms them a little where they're like, I can tell she understands me though. Yeah.